Hello, everyone, and welcome. I'm excited to have you here today. We're about to explore a fascinating topic, first impressions. The title of our presentation is First Impressions, the 10 mistakes that ruin you instantly. In this session, we'll uncover the subtle behaviors that can sabotage your first impression and understand the psychological reasons behind them. We'll also learn how to identify and eliminate these mistakes to make a stronger, more positive impact right from the start. So, let's dive in and discover how to master the art of making great first impressions. Let's talk about fixing one common mistake, showing up late. It's actually a simple but powerful rule. Leave earlier than you think you need to. Arriving early isn't just about being punctual. It signals respect, responsibility, and emotional maturity. It shows that you value other people's time as much as your own. Now, from a psychological perspective, humans tend to interpret lateness as a threat to social reliability. If you can't show up on time, people start wondering what else you might fail at or how dependable you really are. That's a big deal in building trust and credibility. Punctuality sends a very clear message. When you arrive late, even just a few minutes, you're essentially communicating that your time is more important than theirs. And that can trigger feelings of frustration, disrespect, and even distrust. So the key takeaway here is, being on time isn't just about punctuality. It's about showing respect and reliability. Avoiding this mistake helps you build stronger relationships and a reputation for dependability. Let's talk about a simple but powerful fix, the repeat and anchor technique. When someone says, "Hi, I'm Jamie," you respond with, "Hi, Jamie, nice to meet you." This might seem small, but it actually activates memory pathways in the brain, making it easier for you to remember their name later. Plus, it shows you're present and genuinely attentive. Now, think about how disappointing it feels when you introduce yourself, and then the other person forgets your name just 10 seconds later. That kind of forgetfulness can come off as inattentiveness or low social awareness. It's a subtle signal that you're not fully engaged. So the key takeaway here is that forgetting their name after a brief interaction isn't just a minor slip. It can impact how others perceive your social skills. Using this simple, repeat and anchor technique helps you stay memorable, engaged, and shows true attentiveness. Let's talk about slowing down. Sometimes, taking a deliberate pause can really make a difference. A thoughtful pause shows confidence and gives your audience a moment to absorb what you've said. It's far more effective than rushing through your points. Now moving on to filler words. You know, those little words like like, or you know. They tend to creep into our speech when we're nervous or unsure. And while everyone uses them sometimes, overdoing it can send the wrong message. It can make you seem insecure, unfocused, or uncertain about what you're saying. This is what we call mistake 3, overusing filler words. The key here is awareness. When you use too many, it can clutter your speech and distract your audience. Instead of sounding confident and clear, you risk appearing unprepared or hesitant. So the goal is to recognize these filler words and work on reducing them. Practice slowing down your speech and pausing intentionally, especially before important points. That way, you'll come across as more confident, deliberate, and engaging. Remember, your words carry weight. Make sure every pause counts. Let's talk about a simple but powerful fix, using the one-breath rule. This means letting the other person finish their full thought before responding. Respecting this creates connection because it shows you're truly listening. Interrupting, on the other hand, destroys rapport. It breaks the flow of the conversation and can leave the other person feeling unheard or dismissed. Even if it's unintentional, cutting someone off signals that what you have to say matters more than what they're saying. This is a common mistake, interrupting people, and it can really undermine trust and understanding. So remember, giving someone the space to finish their thoughts not only shows respect, but also strengthens your relationship and keeps the conversation flowing smoothly. Let's talk about fixing eye contact. Aim for a natural, steady gaze. Think of it as being present rather than staring. You don't want to make your audience uncomfortable, so it's important to look away periodically to keep your gaze relaxed. Here's an interesting psychology insight. When we make eye contact, it activates the social bonding areas of our brain, which helps to increase trust and emotional connection. That's why eye contact is such a powerful nonverbal tool. However, it's crucial to strike the right balance. Too little eye contact can make you seem insecure, distracted, or uninterested. So, avoiding eye contact altogether is a common mistake, what I call mistake number 5. Remember, engaging with your audience through appropriate eye contact enhances your credibility and keeps your message compelling. Let's talk about the importance of following the 50-50 rule. It's simple but powerful. Speak for half the time and listen for the other half. Healthy conversation isn't a one-way street, it's a two-way exchange. When we listen as much as we talk, we build better connections and understanding. Now let's look at the right approach. If you're monologue style, where you dominate the conversation, it can feel one-sided and exhausting. It's like you're talking at people, not with them. That kind of interaction keeps everything inside your own world and prevents real connection. On the flip side, the wrong approach is dominating the conversation, which traps the interaction. When we do that, people often walk away feeling drained, not connected. They don't feel heard or valued. And that brings us to mistake number 6, talking only about yourself. It's tempting to focus on our own stories, but it's important to remember that conversations are about mutual exchange. When we only talk about ourselves, we miss the opportunity to truly connect and understand others. So, always aim for a balanced, engaging dialogue that invites others in. All right, let's talk about a simple but powerful fix for building genuine connections. Put your phone away. Face it down, silence it, and make a conscious effort to be present. When you do this, your presence immediately feels more authentic and attentive. Now, here's a psychological insight to keep in mind. Checking your phone during conversations actually triggers feelings of social rejection. It's one of the strongest emotional pain signals humans experience. So, when you glance at your screen mid-conversation, it instantly tells the other person that they're not your priority. That small action can send a big message that your attention is elsewhere. And that's exactly what we want to avoid if we're aiming to foster trust and connection. So the mistake to watch out for here is checking your phone. It might seem harmless, but it can undermine the very connection you're trying to build. Instead, focus on giving your full attention. It's a simple step, but it makes a huge difference. When you tell a simple point and it turns into a 20-minute monologue, people tend to lose interest pretty quickly. Long-winded stories can come across as self-absorbed or socially unaware, and that's not what we want. So, the fix here is to keep your stories short, vivid, and purposeful. Focus on clarity rather than length. Remember, it's better to be concise and impactful than to ramble on and lose your audience's attention. If you recognize any of these 10 mistakes in yourself, don't worry. Awareness is the first step to change. Small adjustments can make a big difference. Remember, every new interaction is an opportunity for connection, respect, and trust. A strong first impression isn't about being perfect, it's about being present. Showing up on time, paying attention, listening deeply, and showing genuine interest are key. Now let's talk about the bottom line. To make a lasting impression, you should ask thoughtful questions about their career, passions, dreams, and experiences. Curiosity is powerful, it builds connection. And connection, in turn, builds trust. Trust is what leaves a lasting impression, not just trying to impress someone with your achievements. People feel connected to you because you show real interest in them. Many think that talking about their accomplishments makes a great impression, but actually, it's the opposite. So remember, the most effective way to connect isn't by talking about yourself, but by asking questions about their journey, their passions, and what excites them. That's how you create genuine relationships that last.